So let's talk about that now. Let's talk about using ANSI escape sequences to actually move the terminal around. This is what you would typically see if you were building like a TUI, a terminal user interface. Something like HTOP, where I can press up and down and that little bar down there moves. Or if I were to Vim a file, notice that like Vim is still on my terminal, but I can move the cursor up and down. I have free range over it. This is a terminal user interface, and you would use ANSI escape sequences to do this. There are higher level libraries you can use. I don't know of any in Bash, but like if you were writing it in C or something like that, you might have ncurses. If you're on Rust, I know Ratatouille is a library that people seem to really like, but we can go ahead and I can show you some of the ones just to sort of get you started. So let's just talk about what we know here. We have tput setaf1 and we can echo hi, and now we have the red color. And if we pipe this to xxd, we can actually see like, oh, that's not what you want. You want to actually pipe it to xxd. We can see that it just outputs the escape sequences for us, which is pretty nice. There are some other commands you may not even think about. Clear. What does clear do? Clears my screen. How does that work? Well, we could pipe it to xxd and we can see, here's how clear works. It just prints this. That's what clear does. It literally just prints this to the screen. And if you print this to the screen, you will clear your screen. Printf, we can do it ourselves. The escape sequence, open this, 3, capital J. The escape sequence, H. The escape sequence, open, square bracket, 2, J. We just copied all that. If we print this to the screen, we've cleared it. Hey, that's pretty cool. So you can get really fun with this. You can get really unique things going on. If we pull back open the reference website, there's all sorts of stuff we can do. Erase and display, erase from cursor until end of screen, erase the entire screen, erase saved lines, erase in the line, set graphics mode, set dim mode, faint mode, italics, underline, blinking. There's a ton of stuff you can do here. Again, I can't cover it all, but I want to leave you with this document because you can go through and do a ton of stuff. Move the cursor to the home position, move the cursor to a specific line, move the cursor up some number of lines, save the cursor position, and then restore the cursor position. So I could save where the user's cursor is, jump somewhere in the terminal, maybe to the bottom for a status bar, and then jump back up. I have a video where I make a progress bar in Bash. It's very similar to like apt update or something like that, or apt install if you've ever used that. I'll link that again, but it all uses ANSI escape sequences. That is how it accomplishes it. So let's show some real basic examples of that. We could make a script called move cursor. All right, we have move cursor, user, bin, env bash. There should be no secrecy about what's going on with that shebang. We've done it 8,000 times so far, so what's 8,001 really? Let's go ahead and let's do some magical stuff. So we want to save the cursor. Let's actually describe what we want to do before we go ahead and do it. We want to save the cursor's position. We want to jump somewhere. We want to print hello world, and then we want to restore the cursor. Okay, yep, that makes perfect sense. So let's go ahead and do this. Save the cursor position, jump somewhere, print hello world, and then restore the cursor. Wow, I really can't type, can I? So how do we save the cursor position? Well, if we pull up that sheet, I won't do too much of this cross-referencing during the video, but if we pull up the sheet, you can see that to save the cursor, we need the escape sequence and the number 7. That is it, the escape sequence and the number 7. So we printf the escape sequence and the number 7. That's it. That's it. We have instructed our terminal to save where the cursor's current location is. Now, if we want to jump somewhere, how do we do that? Well, there's a couple different ways we can do this. In this example, I want to use this notation where you give it the capital H or the lowercase f, doesn't really matter which one. We'll move the cursor to a specific line and a specific column. So who cares where we jump? We'll just pick like, I don't know, 2020. That sounds fine. We'll printf and we'll do the escape sequence. We'll give it a line number and a column number. So if you look here, I wish I could have both these on the screen at the same time because it's kind of annoying. But look here, we can see that it takes the escape sequence, open square bracket, the line, semicolon, the column, capital H. So we're going to make use of that. We're going to jump to line 20, semicolon, column 20, H to move the cursor there. Awesome. Now that we've moved there, we can printf hello world. We don't have to worry about emitting a new line because our cursor's in a completely random spot. We don't even want to go to a new line. And let's restore the cursor. The way we do that is how we did 7 above. We're just going to do 8 here, which will restore the cursor's location. So if all this works, what should happen now? If we run move cursor, look at that. Look at that. Hello world. Look at that. It prints it down there. And because we saved the user's location and we moved it back, it'll just keep going there. So if I get down here, we'll overwrite it, But then it writes it right back. So you can see hello world is just nestled nicely in there for us. So pretty cool, pretty neat. We can clear the screen. It's gone. Run the command. It's back there. This is fun. This is scratching the surface of stuff you can do. There are some other things you can do with this. Of course, you could build on this. You could make a whole terminal user interface. Like I said, I have videos where I do that. I'll link them below. Last Christmas, I did something really cool. I made a bash script. You can use curl, which gets a web resource. We used it before to curl my website. You can curl xmas.ysap.sh. And this actually just prints a bash script. So that's pretty cool. It prints a whole bash script, and I have a whole video where I actually write this on stream, which was a ton of fun. So I'll link that at the end. If you pipe this to bash, be very careful when you pipe things to bash from a web server like that. I wrote this, I can trust this myself, but be careful when you do this. But take a look at this. Now it says Merry Christmas. It took over my whole terminal. It says Merry Christmas. These colors are changing. It's all using ANSI escape sequences to like move the cursor to the right place and draw the right thing and refresh the line. And then when I control C, we're out of it and it's gone. So that's a really cool thing. Like I said, that's sort of bonus. That'll be at the end of the video. I'll put a link there so you can see how I made that, what went into that, and how that all works. Because that's a really cool thing.